In today's video, I want to walk through the advanced settings in the 3 DCA bot. Hey guys, it's me, Minute Papa. I, of course, is on the bettertraders.com that talk about exactly the thing I'm going to be showing you today. And I'm also a 3 ambassador. So here on 3 last time I did this video, and if you missed that one, you might want to watch that first because that's the bot info view. And you can click up there in the top right corner, you'll see that little pop up. You can watch that video to get an understanding of what all this stuff means. And today we're going to go into the nitty-gritty of the bot. Now, with that said, we're not going to go into the deal start conditions in this video. That will be in a later video just because there's so much to it. And we are right now looking at a bot that's using my DeFi signals. And if you want to know more about the DeFi signals, there's a link in the description that will take you to the page on our site on thebettertraders.com that'll give you a rundown of the profit and loss and a lot more data that I talk about regularly. So this is going to be a pretty broad overview of everything in the details section just to fill in any gaps that you might have. So the easy thing we're going to do is we're going to start on this is your right, not my right, but it's my left, but on the right side, and we're going to look at the window that's floating here. So notice that there are 3 different kinds of, well, templates, I guess you could say. There's the wizard, which I don't use because I am a wizard. And there's the advanced view, which is what we're looking at right now. So if you don't want to get into the nitty-gritty business, you can use the wizard, but if you want to start changing things, you're going to want to look at the advanced view. And that's why I'm just skipping right to it. So the balance is telling me how much I have on the exchange that my bot is created for. Now note that I'm editing a bot that's already been established and already running for an exchange that I have. If I'm creating a new bot, I'm able to click this drop-down menu and choose any exchange that I have available or connected to 3 So right now it's showing me on this exchange, I have 0.5 BTC available. But notice this question mark right here. It's letting me know that the actual total is 0.64, but I have 0.11 locked in limit orders. Now stop. What does that mean? That means that I have pre-existing open deals running right now. And that is, well, those amounts have been reserved. That 0.1143 BTC has been reserved for those deals to continue running. That's all that means. And then if you have smart trades open, which is a different part of 3 that I'm happy to cover in later videos. If you guys like these, and you can let me know by hitting the like button, that would be good feedback for me. But that's letting you know here in this pop-up window how much of your BTC or whatever the quote currency we're looking at is, in this case it's Bitcoin, how much I have locked in smart trades, which I don't. The amount that I have used so far is 0.0359. Again, not locked. This is just how much has been used, not reserved, not the total amount, but just how much has been used. And then the max amount for bot usage based on current rate. So what this means is that I have this bot and it's set up to use this much. This is the max. This is the total amount of funds that I have available for this bot. And here you can see it's about 18.5% of my account. And here, all of a sudden, you just see max safety order price deviation. This kind of doesn't really fit in with the rest. I get that. But this is handy to know as well, because this is letting you know the maximum safety deviation. And again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's what that is. We also have a chart, which is way more handy for me because I'm a big visual person. So I can see that the first step is my base order. I talk about this a lot. And then the next step would be base order plus safety 1. So the actual volume of safety 1 is 0.007, but adding 007 plus 0035, it's going to be 0.01077, blah, 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 blah. And then having another step, which would be safety 2, adding all that together, it's equaling to about 0.025 Bitcoin, or about $497, $500. Now, if you really like spreadsheets and you want to see it all laid out, there's also this, but I find this a little bit hard to interpret, but it is helpful to see required change percentage and all that stuff, and the average price, required price to take profit, all that fun stuff. So the table is helpful, but a little bit, yeah. So the assistant itself is just great. It's just floating there. It's always going to be there on the right side. So it's just a reminder Now, on the left side, you'll notice that for one, we can actually click and drag anything that we want to, and however we leave it is the way it stays, which is kind of cool. So here I can change the name, I can change the bot type between a single pair and a multi-pair, and a single pair is just what it sounds like. You can only run one trading pair at a time, or a multi-pair is running more than one. So this is a multi-pair bot with 5 trading pairs in it. I could add all trading pairs, which I don't want to because I'll forget what I have here. Or you can click in here and you can add them in. But note, if you're using signals from somebody and they don't support that trading pair, then you don't want to add it to the list. So just keep that in mind. Okay, down here in strategy, this is letting you know how many max active deals you can have. Notice when I click max, it goes to 5. If I go to 6, we got a problem because it has to be equal to 5 here. Now I can actually change that. We'll get to it in the bottom, but note that I can actually reduce this. I could just have it set to 3 max active deals, and that will also reduce the max amount for bot usage and the percentage of total balance to be used by the bot. So 5 is really conservative for me. That's how I like it. That's fine. Here's where you set your strategy for a long bot or a short bot. This would be a bullish trending bot, and this would be a bearish trending bot. And profit currency is really interesting. You can choose in 3 commas in the DCA bots if you want to profit in the quote currency, which happens to be Bitcoin, or the base currency, which is all 5 of these tokens: Comp, KNC, LRC, SNX, ZRX. I don't want to particularly profit in these right now, but there is a time where it makes a whole lot of sense to profit in these. But for me right now, I want to profit in Bitcoin for all of these. Now here's where we can set our base order size. Our base order size, if we go back to the chart, is this amount right here, 0.00359,111. So it's rounding it up over here in this step to be about 70 bucks. Or 0.00359,291. So don't worry about the discrepancy, and there will be slippage depending on the deal start condition unless it's limit. Getting ahead of myself, but just saying. Note that there's a drop-down box. I can actually switch this if I have a different kind of bot. In the settings, I can switch it to use a percentage of my account. Now this gets messy and you're not able to do it at all when you have a multi-pair bot. But if it's a single pair bot, you sure as heck can. So for instance, if I wanted to run a bot with the DeFi signals for comp BTC, then I could set this to a percentage. So if I always use 10% for my base order size and then 20% for my safety order size, then it's going to compound my profits with that. That's a pretty cool deal. Start order type, you can choose if you want the bot to favor limit or market orders, but you know what, to be honest, because these signals are sent to the bot right away, it's sent with a market by signal every single time. It's never going to be a limit order, and never, ever, ever. But if you're not using these signals and you have a different deal start condition, again, we'll get to this later, then you can choose limit, which is great. But depending on the signal, you might want to use a market order because limit means that you're waiting for that fixed price to be hit. Market's going to open it right away. The downside with market is that there might be slippage in that you get the trigger to buy, but maybe the order book is thin and there's a really large spread. So that way, instead of it being at 11, you buy at 13. So you're losing out like 20%. That's an extreme example, but you get the idea. Or not 20%, it'd be a little over 10%. Okay, so coming down here, again, I'm going to get to this in another video. We can see the take profit percentage and the type and trailing and deviation. I get questions about this a lot, specifically with my signals. Like, can I change these values? Can I do all this stuff? If you have, if a signal provider has given you a template to copy and they've told you, don't touch this, I wouldn't recommend touching this. Should you touch it? No. So I have mine set to 0.85 and I'm the guy and these are my signals. I'm not touching this. I'm leaving it. The take profit type, although sorry, I should say you can manipulate this and do an insane amount, but again, it's not by design. So take profit type, percentage from total volume or percentage from base order. This will act differently depending on what happens. So there's a lot of text here, but essentially the way it is like this. If you want a really DCA, dollar cost averaging, where you're buying down, you're averaging down your entry price, and you're averaging down your take profit, you're going to want percentage from total volume. Now, if you want everything to be based off of the base order and you don't want your take profit to go down, then you're going to want to set it to the base order. Now, note that this will leave your take profit higher. There are benefits to it, although I'm not really sure what they are, but the option is there. Trailing is controversial. Trailing essentially means that when the price is hit, when my target profit percentage is hit, it's going to enable trailing. And once that starts, and in this case, 0.25%, the price moves up higher, it's going to move up a trailing stop loss. So 2.25% higher, moves it up, 0.25% higher, moves it up. And as soon as the price comes down 0.25% or hits that stop loss, it closes out. So instead of closing out at 0.85%, I could close out at 1.1%. Or if there's slippage, I could be closed out at 0.6%. So you have to be careful about this. Now, I'm aggressive because I know my signals and I know that DeFi these tokens are crazy volatile. So I want a wider, more aggressive trailing deviation. What I tell people in the 15 minutes course and in most videos is that your trailing should always be 10%, but I'm a little bit crazy in that I want it to be a little bit greater just because I know there's volatility right now and I want to take advantage of that, especially if I can turn 0.85% to 2% or 3%, which has happened. Next is stop loss. And I'm just going to say right now, I do not recommend using stop losses on spot DCA bots. Now, if you're using the 3 DCA bot on the futures market, for one, you shouldn't be using safety orders at all. You should always be using a stop loss with futures, with leverage. But if you're just on the spot market, don't use a stop loss. You're going to have a way more profitable bot by DCAing out of it. So if you want to enable it, you can click that. You can set your percentage, and this is going to be set below the price. You can enable. So notice right here, if I set it to 1, that's no good because it has to be below the last safety order. So let's say in a doomsday scenario, I have it set down to 10%. The price hits, the deal starts. So base order, then we got safety 1, and then safety 2. Well, actually it'd be more like this. So base, safety 1, safety 2. So it's 7 times the base volume, and then the price comes down 10% and it hits my stop loss. I'm losing way more than I was going to make. That's a no good thing. So that's why you can't set it less than your last safety order. You want to be really careful about this because it's a bad deal, to be honest. Stop loss action right here. You can choose to either close the deal or close the deal and stop the bot, which is nice in case you need to reconfigure things. And of course, there's stop loss timeout, which is based in seconds. So if the price comes down to your stop loss, but comes right out within a range of time that you set here in like 3,600 seconds, like an hour, which is way too long. But if it does, in an hour, it comes down, but it comes right back out, you won't get stopped out. So that's what a stop loss timeout is. And it's all in seconds. From doing this for so long, I know that 3,600 seconds is an hour and 1,800 seconds is 30 minutes. It's just how it works. Safety orders is the lifeblood of DCA bots. Safety orders are essentially more trades that are being applied to the same trading pair that the bot starts a deal for. For instance, we have 5 trading pairs. So let's say the bot starts a deal for LRC. That first trade that it makes is called the base order. 3 knows how to track the volume and the amount for that. So you could actually have 3 multiple deals going on for LRC, but it's keeping track of different prices for different deals. It's pretty amazing. So what happens is that when the price comes down, again, how much? It's decided by here, this price deviation to open safety orders. So percentage from initial order. So the price goes down 1.5%, and then it buys more. And it buys how much? It buys this much more, which is 2 times more in this case. And then you can see I have max safety orders count 2. That means that after 1.5%, there's another safety trade that's going to buy even more. It's going to buy 0.014 Bitcoin. And it's actually not going to be 1.5 lower. It's going to be, and we go back to the assistant, 4.5% lower. And the reason why it's growing exponential is because I use a safety order step scale that is exponential. This number right here on the scale is a multiplier. So if your first safety deviation is 1.5, then we're going to multiply, we're going to add it, and then we're going to multiply it by 2. Add it, multiply it by 2. Add the previous, multiply by 2. Add the previous, so it's going to grow exponentially. If you don't want it to do that, you can set it to 1, or you could even use decimal amounts where it's using less than. So this would be reducing it quite a bit. So now you can see here, instead of it being 1, which would be 3, now I can set it to 0.5. Now it's 2.25. There are times to do this. Now it's not the time. And I honestly just favor leaving it on 2 and 2. It's easy. This max active safety orders count gets some people thrown off. So if I set this to 0, nothing really changes up here, but it changes in the bot, or rather in that deal that the bot starts. I don't recommend doing anything less than the number that's here because these are limit orders. If you have it less than that, if you have it set to anything less, that means that there's one limit order, but the remaining one is basically on their servers waiting to be placed. So I find it much more efficient and effective, especially if the price all of a sudden shoots down real fast, making a fat finger dump. I want to make sure I have both of my orders ready to eat it up. So there's the base order, then safety 1, safety 2, and as soon as the price recovers, you close out and profit. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me several times. It's a great feeling, and this is why I have it set that way. And then here in advanced settings, these are all the fancy schmancy things to do. Don't start deals if the daily volume in Bitcoin is less than whatever amount of BTC. So if any of these trading pairs have less than 100 Bitcoin in daily volume, don't open a deal for that trading pair. That's what it means. And you can see I have it left at 0. Minimum price to open deal can be a little bit tricky, especially with a multi-pair bot, because all of these are at different prices. But if I wanted to use all trading pairs, BTC all, but I want to leave out everything that is below 100 sats. Let me just make sure. Yep, so everything below 100 sats, that will be the lowest price that the bot will open a deal. And vice versa, I don't want the bot to open anything that's greater than 10,000 sats. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. So now I have a price range that the bot is now, again, this is much more helpful if I'm using the BTC all, but now I can control the range, the price range for every single trading pair that's in my bot. So that way it's not going to open deals that are less than 100 sats or greater than 10,000. But as you know, I had it 0 because I want them to run. Cooldown between deals is a nice thing that I actually asked for. This one and the simultaneous deals. So a cooldown is essentially an amount of time in seconds so that you can wait. The bot actually waits. So this is a great way for you to prevent your bot from buying really up high at the very, very tip top of a pump, which happens sometimes. So by delaying the next bot deal to start after a certain amount of time, this one's set to 4,500 seconds. So after 4,500 seconds, however long that is, that one I don't know. But after about 4,500 seconds, the bot's going to start a new deal, and then it's good to go. It's good to at least accept new deals, I should say. So that cooldown means it's not going to receive any more buy signals from the signals that you're using or the signal provider or whatever. So it doesn't mean that it's going to open a deal right after 4,501 seconds after the last deal closed. It just means it's not going to receive any new incoming deals for this amount of time. So it's a cooldown. Open X deals and stop. Pretty self-explanatory. You can set it to 20. And then once you set that to 20, after it's opened its 20th deal, it stops the bot. It won't generate any more deals. Simultaneous deals per same pair is awesome. Essentially what it means is that I can set this to 2, which means that I can max this out to 10 now. Why is it different? It means that if I receive a signal for comp, and then while a comp deal is still open, I receive another signal for comp, it'll open it. But it will only open 2 simultaneous deals per same trading pair. So this doesn't have to be set to 10. I can have it set to 5. And if it just happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I get signals for SNX or ZRX, it's not going to process those deals. So I'm going to set this just to 1. And now the last and the newest thing here is that there's this auto convert new deals to smart trade. Now, this is an interesting way to do it in that they're using the triggers to start a trade for the bots, but it will automatically convert it to a smart sell order. So if I have this set up, this is crazy, and I have to do a whole lot of stuff, which I don't want to do right now. It gets a little bit intense. And of course, there's close deal after timeout, which is a time-based calculation, so that after 8 hours, any deals that have been opened, and it's like 8 hours and 1 minute, it's closed in profit or not. It's a little bit different, but that's what that is. So those are all the advanced settings, except for the deal start conditions. And like I said, I'm going to cover that in a separate video just because there are so many, and it really ties in well to the DCA backtester tool that we have available in the Better Traders Club, because you can visualize and see what all these settings mean and what they do. So now that you've seen this, keep an eye out for that video that'll be coming out next week. So until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.